North Cat, baby, I'm a boss. Carolina barbecue sauce with the slaw. I'm the safe, the cellar, and the vault. I'm the best, the effect, and the cause. I'm the law. It's the North Cat, baby, I'm a boss. Carolina barbecue sauce with the slaw. I'm the safe, the cellar, and the vault. I'm the best, the effect, and the cause. I'm the law.
What's up, guys? We're back again for the next episode of Secret Sauce to Be the Boss. Now, as you know, we've done a special edition 4-pack. This is part of the special edition 4th pack. This is the last one, so I hope you enjoy it. We will be back in the fall. What's up, Thomas? How are you doing?
Doing well, man.
Introduce yourself and tell them about yourself.
Hey, Thomas Johnson Bean. I'm the owner, I'm the founder and president of the Life Group, Legacy Insurance and Financial Education. I also founded a company called Successful Regardless.
And you've also wrote some books also.
Yeah, man. Got 5 books to my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell them about the books, man. Tell them about the books.
Awesome.
And what made you write them and what they're about.
So the books coincide with the 2 firms. So I got a book called Life Changers, 4 True Lies About Your Money. Got Life Changers, Reclaim Your Money, The Debt Guide. Got Life Changers, The Entrepreneur's Retirement Blueprint. Got 2 books through Successful Regardless, Cracked But Not Broken, and Successful Regardless, Stark Contrast, A Mirror Can Dream. And just the books push out the message. The message is that there's a truth to the American dream. There's power in the American dream, but you have to take ownership of it. You can't allow a society that has made so much wealth off of lying to you to continue to do so. At some point, you have to reclaim your money, reclaim your time, and reclaim your value.
Awesome, man. And so we're actually in your home office today.
Yeah, man.
So we see some of your certificates, your degrees, your plaques, a lot of the stuff that you've done and the honors you've received.
Yeah, man. So I was a financial advisor and insurance agent. I got involved back in 2005 in the business, and 14 and a half years later, you know, I kind of left the industry, not necessarily altogether, but I saw so much inside the industry. When I was earning all this stuff, I was earning it, but I wasn't necessarily being true to myself. I was following a template that said if you do these things, you prospect these clients, you'll be successful. So we're climbing this ladder of higher and higher net worth clients. We're climbing this ladder of working with individuals who have money, but I had to come to the realization they didn't have no money. So there's so much, there's so much dishonesty in the industry, and I was looking at, well, I don't want to help people who have $1 million plus net worth. I wanted to help people in real ways who were struggling. And I think when you start having those qualifiers of you have to have $250,000 liquid net worth, this, and that to invest or to work with an advisor, we're leaving an entire segment of society behind, the biggest segment, and we're giving them bad information on how to make it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I care a lot more about those millions of people making it than the people who already have millions making more.
So you went your own way and you've done your own thing and you've become very successful. You actually started this new group with different people from all different fields. Explain to us exactly what this group is, why you put it together, and what all it offers.
So if you talk to any financial advisor, he's going to talk about his core network of people. He's going to talk about potentially having an estate attorney. He's going to talk about having a CPA for his clientele, being able to recommend his people to his clients instead of sending them to other people and having potentially advice and recommendations butt up against what he's recommended. I want to take some of the best entrepreneurs that I knew in my personal network and bring them together and say, well, you guys are great in your core competencies. What would it be like for you to work with my clients to work with you, and for us to all do that as a core group of people who are going back and forth and giving the best possible advice and not sending our clients out to the wolves. Because at some point you got to be real. An advisor's job is to prospect and to hunt. Not necessarily to give the best advice possible, not necessarily to stay in their strength zones and make the best recommendations. So if you're hunting, how strong are you when it comes to your research and your development? Let's start bringing all of our clients together and let's huddle together and start sharing best practices so we can give them the best possible advice and the experience possible. Then we have Life Changers Bank, which is our online content. Mm-hmm. I got sick of the idea that we're sharing good information, but we're behind closed doors. It's that kind of private wealth feeling. At some point,
imagine that.
take that information to the public, take it out to them, and be direct about what's going on. This is the closed door conversation that I have with a doctor. This is the closed door conversation I have with a partner at a law firm. Well, now let's give that kind of information to the people so that you don't have these shoddy and unscrupulous financial advisors and people who are coming into your home and you're walking into their businesses and they have no real reason to give you the right information. So
Why would you? Why would they when they're basically trying to get you as a client? The main thing that they want is the paycheck that you're going to give them and control of your money.
and once product is sold,
Yeah,
you hear from them like once a year, if that, right?
exactly.
I wanted to have 24/7 access to financial information that was valuable. I wanted to get people in a rhythm of being consistent and having a community, knowing that the information that they're getting, it matters, but they also can build a life of their own that they can be proud of.
You also do some community outreach work and
Yeah.
stuff like that and everything. Tell us, give us an example of something you do on that regard.
The Life Group has a faith and finances ministry. So we actually go into churches and work with church programs to bring financial education into those communities. One of the things that our group is very aware of is that it's not just low income neighborhoods, but you have a lot of people in the faith community. We're supposed to have a lot of faith in our God taking care of us, but we're not doing the works.
Yeah.
And sometimes the works that we are doing are the very things that are depleting our value. So I wanted to get into a place where we could go into these churches, go into these faith-based communities and start talking about the biblical principles around money, which if you really look at them, they're against what's being taught in the world, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so let's get away from what the world teaches us about finance and start getting back to some biblical principles, which just makes sense. There's nothing about investing capital and derivatives in the Bible.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I spend a lot of time doing similar stuff, so I really appreciate and respect that you do that. I have two questions that are going to run hand in hand. I'm going to ask you the first one first. It is, what was it like to separate yourself and leave the safety net job and career and to go out and to do your own thing, to push fear aside and to actually make that decision? A lot of people want to do that, but are scared.
It was hell. It was hell because I wasn't just walking away from a career, right? I wasn't just walking away from being a younger man. I wasn't walking away from something that I had done for a short period of time and just got disgusted with it.
Yeah.
I'd already been in the industry for about 10 years when I walked away from my first firm. And I was on top. I was the #1 financial advisor in the Southeast through that firm. So walking away was a rejection of my income, rejection of who I was, but it was also a rejection of behaviors that I started to develop that kept me in that industry because I was addicted to the high of selling something. And there's no worse high than when you're working with people who want your help, but you're addicted to helping them, not because you want to help them, but because of the high of producing at a high level. So whenever you see, these organizations where you have people who are in sales, you have to make sure that that sales process is not about being the top dog, and it's actually about having a heart for people, building those relationships. Another reason that I know it was hard to sell is because when I walked away, I walked right into a consulting job that made me feel like I was stealing it. Right? Like
I thought I was getting away from this.
And they brought me on as a highly compensated consultant, gave me a nice title. I was managing director of this. I had an uptown firm. And it was like, wait, this is still not what I wanted.
I kind of just spun my tires around.
And I was still being redirected into to giving advice and to tailoring what we were trying to do in a way that wasn't authentic to me. So that's how hard it was.
And so where you're at now, we talked about that. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see us being a staple in homes, not just all across America, but internationally. I want our Tree of Life logo to represent whether we're sponsoring anybody else's company, whether it's a product launch, whether we are starting to get into the international community when it comes to people who are getting student visas and whatnot and coming to America, learning about financial education. I want to be the signifier that you can trust this company, that what we're doing is actually going to change lives, and we're helping you facilitate things like higher income, more income streams, building your own business. If we're a staple in that environment,
Yeah.
then we've succeeded.
You know what I really like about your answer when I asked you that just now? A lot of times when I've asked people that before, you had a vision. I was looking at you in your eyes and you were saying that with firm belief. And what you just said, to the naked eye, sounds outlandish and a lot. But guess what? Every single thing we do, every great thing that's ever accomplished, it has to start here and with a belief. So you started it and you have a belief. And if you continue, you're going to make it happen. When I came home from prison,
No doubt.
When I came home from prison and I was telling people I was going to do this and this and this, they thought I was crazy. But here I am standing up on a stage speaking to thousands of people. Here I am signing a book deal and having a book coming out. Here I am owning my own fitness company, my own promotion company, filming a show. People 4 or 5 years ago, people would be like, man,
And
you better go get a damn construction job. Or, yes.
The first ingredient to the recipe is be okay with being crazy.
Exactly.
You cannot achieve anything great in life if you are sane to the majority of people that you talk to about.
If you have average thoughts and average goals,
Guess what?
you're never going to achieve anything except for average. How would anyone ever become great or move up unless they had great and outlandish goals and just put the work in to get there and make them happen?
Be insane, man. That's the recipe I follow. Be insane, be authentic to yourself, and follow your vision no matter who you come up against.
I want to ask you one more question. This question right here, let's take away what you do professionally. Let's take away what I do professionally. What advice would you have to anyone watching this show that is struggling with where they're at and wants to do their own thing? Let's say someone wants to open up a paint company. Someone wants to open up a tattoo shop. Someone wants to open up a furniture store. Someone wants to open up a wind chime store. They want to get away from being stuck on that merry-go-round, and they want to do their own thing and be their own boss and be in charge of themselves and live their own life and create their own happiness. What advice would you give to that
So
person?
I got 4 words, and they both tie together. The first 2 are opt out. Opt out of anything that anybody else is doing who's normal. So if somebody tells you to go right and you see a whole crowd going right, then go left. Because going left is probably more authentic to you and your standards and the life that you want to live than it is with following the crowd. First 2. The second 2 is self and love. You can't do anything major in this world without self-love. And if you're thinking about turning your back to the crowd, you have to love yourself enough that when the crowd is taunting you and teasing you and making a mockery of everything that you're doing, you can still do it and be convicted in doing it, so that you're waking up with passion and making it happen with good energy and good vibrations. If you don't have self-love, you're gonna crash and burn.
Absolutely.
And not enough people go through a self-love journey and process to develop that.
Man, that was amazing. That was a really good answer. I appreciate that. And what you said about the beginning of everyone else is going right, go left, I do that all the time. And I talked about this. I do my own motivational speaking, and I get resounding results from my motivational speaking. I will not listen to other motivational speakers. I will not do any training. I will not go through any courses. I don't watch them, speak to them, because I don't want to be like
love that.
anyone else.
So we call ourselves, with the life group, we call ourselves life coaches. I've gotten asked time and time again, well, are you an accredited life coach? I don't care about it being an accredited life coach. I got my own life experience.
Exactly.
And I'm bringing to the table something unique. And I'll be daggone if I dumb down what I'm doing
Man.
to fit into a crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like I refuse to do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna crash and burn, and I'm gonna build the plane and
Yeah.
fly again. What I'm not gonna allow myself to do is get on somebody else's plane that crashes and burns,
Yeah.
and I have no recourse.
Why would I go get taught how to sound like everyone else? I don't want to be a sheep. I want to be a lion. And there's a reason I have it tattooed right on my arm. It's the king of the jungle, and he does what he wants to do his way, and he's the king for a reason. In life,
Man.
you can be the wolf or the sheep, right? If you choose to do what everyone else wants you to do, you will never be any different than anyone else. You have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and do your own thing. I do not want to be taught how to speak to anyone else or how to motivate anyone else. I don't want to get up and sound like 2,000 other people. I want to be the one person over here that sounds different. So when you leave, you say, holy crap, That man came from nothing and made it. That he taught me what he went through in his life. He taught me how to be a better person. He taught me how I can do things. And more importantly than anything, he reached out and he touched my mind, my heart, and my soul.
That's huge. What you just said, man, like, you are enough all by yourself. I know that society tries to put other things on you, materialistic things, trainings, ideas, all that stuff. They try to sink you with saying that you are not enough, but you're enough. And if you ever just believe that and go forward with it, everything that you build, everything that you plant, it will be nurtured and blossom, and it'll be because God did it for you and with you, not because society did it. Everything that grows through society watering it, it grows up and it dies, or it grows up in a small pot and it feels constrained, and then its seeds drop in, and then it doesn't have a legacy. I want to build a multi-generational legacy. I can't do that by copying somebody else's life. I can't. I don't want my grandkids to ever wear a damn jersey. If I see one of my kids buy somebody's jersey and wear somebody else's name on the back of it, I'm gonna snatch it off them. Because I'm so convicted that our name, who I am and who we can be, is powerful by itself. The book that I did write, I was telling you about, Success Regardless, my first book about my life story. And the name of the book is Cracked But Not Broken.
Yeah.
And it talks about growing up in Chester, Pennsylvania. It talks about when I was molested. It talks about the fights that I went through. And it talks about me almost killing somebody and being on that same track. Because the dude hit my sister, and I drove up to Philadelphia with a gun.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take his life.
Yeah.
And if I had done that, everything would have been thrown away.
Yeah.
But the power in that is that I had to come to terms with, who are you really as a man? And where do you want to go in life? And most people will never come up against the reality, that truth, because they'll suppress it and they'll just go through the pain of saying, well, I got to do this. Like, this is my obligation. There's a certain point that you can't sweep shit under the rug anymore.
No.
You got to address it. And when you pull all that stuff out, you'll find that everything, like you're talking about psychology, you were disassociating with so many problems in your life and making other people feel the pain that you felt.
Yeah. As long as you bury those pain and you act like they don't exist, or you just keep trying to sweep them under the rug because you're trying to uphold that tough guy image, which is not really tough. It takes a tough man to address the problem head on.
Right.
A weak man and any human being walking this earth can sweep a problem under the rug. A real man has to address it head on. I had to swallow that and understand that. And once I did that, and I figured out the problem, I not only healed myself and figured out a plan to move forward, but I also understood that from this day forward, I could help other people by explaining to them and teaching them the same thing. That pain that's inside of you that you act like doesn't exist, if you're willing to address it, deal with it, and bury it once for all, then you can finally heal and become the person you were supposed to be, and you can live pain-free.
Do you know how many people, with this brand, Success Regardless, we came out with a clothing brand with it, Wear Your Truth. The reason that Wear Your Truth was so powerful, this exclamation point about wearing your truth. Your journey is not that much different from the people whose lives you're trying to change.
Right.
And so many people are going through a similar experience, but they're hesitant to talk about it because not enough people are wearing their truth about the experiences that they went through.
Exactly.
To
Everyone
talk
puts that
about
fake
the
smile on, right?
So if we would just wear our truth and say, look, this is me, God still loves me even if you don't, right? But I'm not going to live a lie so that you can feel comfortable with the facade that I project. Like, I could care less about that lie. Once you kill that lie, there's so much more freedom, and you can actually help other people change their lives. But until you get away from that lie, you're imprisoned.
You know, and I was literally in prison. And so I said to myself, I have at least 10 more years to do. How am I going to make myself the best person possible and be able to help others when I have at least 10 more years in prison to do? So I said to myself, well, what bigger challenge can I ever face than this? If I can do this in here, I can do anything when I come home. I created a new rule called the 10-hour-a-day rule. 3 hours a day of physical fitness and 7 hours a day of mental fitness. And I said to myself, when this 10 years is over with, if I do this every single day, when I come home, there will be no one that can compete with me. I will be mentally and physically sharper than anyone. And I did it for 10 years. And not only did I did it, by the time I left, I had worked my way from Lieber Correctional Institution, where death row's at, all the way to a work release camp, which was unheard of under my circumstances because I was serving a 15-year violent sentence. By the time I got out, I had already started mentoring the officers, the staff, the inmates, the administration, the nurses would come to me for financial advice, life advice, physical fitness advice. I already had a reputation by the time I made it out. Immediately, some of those people started hiring me to be their trainer and life coach. So,
Talk about a journey, but that's a hell of a journey.
So check this out. Who in the hell is going to give a violent felon with all these felonies on their record a chance for a job, right? So, doors slammed in my face, But I'm not going to let that break me. I'm not going to let that break me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. Because every time you shut one door, I'll open 2 doors. You shut them 2 doors, I'll open 4 doors. So you can't, with what you're talking about right now, you cannot discount, and other people will, that chip on your shoulder, that yearning to not only prove, but to have already gone through the fire and being proven. There's something about what you went through that built the mental fortitude for that. And there's so many people that want to get to the place that you are now without the trial. And that's what we're dealing with a lot in the world. We're dealing with, I call it the microwave society.
That's what it is. And even in the course, I talk about the fact that there's still some of you out there who love oven-cooked meals.
Yeah.
And that's what we're bringing.
Yeah, there we go.
We're not going to bring a quick fix to your debt. We're not going to bring a quick fix to your current financial situation. This is going to be oven-baked. This is going to be prepared. This is going to be meticulously curated. You cannot have a life that you say you want in abundance and just get there overnight. But Instagram makes it look that way, right?
Instagram's fake.
It's all fake.
Yeah, I try to tell people that, and it's nice. Let me tell you one thing about Instagram. It's free, and it's free advertising. Facebook's free and it's free advertising. One day it's probably not going to be that. Remember, I told you that. But if you have a business and you want to use it for advertising, take advantage of it while it's free, because one day it's probably not going to be free. But all this other stuff, all these images and all that stuff is fake. And you see these people, and I touched on this, those of you that watched my show Ask the Man, I touched on this the other night, of financial experts trying to sell you these packages. I broke that down very intensely, step by step for you the other night on my show. I want to pick up really quick where I left off. So when you come home, and not a dollar to my name, right? And some of these people hire me to be the trainer though, and I'm trying to get a job and I can't get a job. A friend of mine actually had started a business. It was a roofing business, and he said, "Hey Larry, if you come up and roof with me 6 or 7 hours a day, I give you $100 cash." I said, "All right." So I went into Planet Fitness one day and I spoke to this girl, Noelle. She was in the military. We started talking. We hit it off for a minute. She told me she didn't really have a job. I told her my situation. I thanked her for her time. When I went to walk out, she said, "Hold up, come here for a second." She said, "Come back tomorrow for an interview." I came back to the interview. She hired me on the spot. So now I have 2 feet in the door. I have one where I'm working at Planet Fitness. So I get up first thing in the morning. I work my little shift at Planet Fitness, get in my car, drive down to Rock Hill, jump up on a roof for 6 hours, get a $100 bill handed to me, drive back to the gym, train personal training clients all evening, go take a nap in my car, wake up and repeat day after day after day after day after day. Other guys, there's 6, 7 different guys that are in the fitness industry in the gym, they all think I'm crazy as hell. What's up with this dude? Like, why is he always in the gym? Why is he always pushing himself like this? Don't he ever chill out? Thinking I'm crazy, right? Guess how many of them are still in the fitness industry?
Come on.
1.
Come on.
I surpassed all of them, right? I did this for a while till I didn't need to do the roofing anymore. I stopped. Then when I stopped, I started doing more personal training. I started to take on pro bono clients. As I did, one of my first clients, I helped lose 105 pounds. That got me several more clients. Then it started to snowball. Then I picked up two guys to play for the Carolina Panthers, and another one's fiance. That started to snowball. People started to really understand and figure out who I am. Oh, man, this guy's really good at what he does. Not only will he coach you, he'll get inside your head. He'll talk to you about life, and he'll really help you. So I started gaining a reputation that way. To the point, then I was able to leave the Planet Fitness job. Then I was able to open up BTPU Fitness and do my own thing, the whole package. I got my own clothing line, helping with the meal preps, the life coaching, the physical fitness coaching. Yeah, absolutely. You know, then I started the BTPU promotions and, you know, putting events together like we talked about. And I think I sent you the highlights from the Wealth and Health Expo that I did. And then the motivational speaking started during that time, and I just told you about some of the events I have coming up, speaking, you know, in Texas and Wilmington and here at the headquarters. I don't want to call the name out because I don't know if it hasn't happened yet. I'll call the name out. It's one of the biggest businesses in the Charlotte area.
Man's working. But you know what you tapped on? That's so crazy. People can know what you went through and still try to dim your switch.
Oh yeah.
Like think about how absurd it is for somebody to know that you spent 13 years in a correctional facility, that you had all of that happened to you, and tell you, you know, why are you going so hard? It doesn't matter how pronounced your vision is. There's going to be somebody out there who's trying to balance you out, and they're really trying to mellow you out because their mediocrity is attacked when they sense your stability. When they sense your convictions and your willingness to be extreme, that's when you're attacking. Whether you like it or not, you're attacking somebody's mediocrity.
What you just said is so true.
It's real, man.
You know, for the first 3 years I was home, I only slept 4 hours a night. I sleep, you know, about 7 hours a night now, but I only slept 4 hours a night the first 3 years I was home. I went from not having a single dollar to my name to being worth over $500,000. And being debt free. I don't owe anybody a single dollar. If you look up, if I give you my social security number right now and you look me up, I am zero debt free. You're talking about someone who's been home 4.5 years and had $0 to their name. And
I bet you there's still people out there, why is he going so hard? Like the results, and what you said is so true, the results are indicative of the mindset. And people will always, whenever you come up against somebody who's like, yo, just chill out, bro, or take your time, or you know, let's go out, let's blah blah. Their mindset is that those kind of results aren't achievable. So why would I commit to doing something when I'm not going to see those kind of results? You committed on the front end. You made a promise on the front end, and then you made the results happen. Most people, that's microwave society. Most people need to know what results going to happen, guaranteed, before they'll ever commit. That's why you have so many people getting divorced.
That's why you have these people that have these jobs which they consider, I call them safety net jobs. So they have these safety net jobs, right?
Now you're preaching good.
So let me tell you about these safety net jobs. I'm gonna go work for the man every single day. I'm gonna come in early when he tells me to. I'm gonna stay late when he tells me to. I'm gonna bust my butt. I'm gonna give the best portion of my life to the man for this job and this set salary, so I can get this little 401k retirement, and I can have this little bitty salary, and I can get stuck in this little house and this little car, and I can only take one vacation a year, and I can only do this, and everything I do for the rest of my life is limited. But guess what? I've got this safety net. That is not as real. That's not real.
It's the most unsafe thing. I was talking about in my book, right?
Yeah.
It's the most unsafe thing that you'll ever experience, because that man that's giving you all that safety can wake up on a Monday morning, be pissed off that he got stuck in traffic, and fire you and snatch it all away.
So
how safe is that?
Yeah.
So one of the episodes we filmed was with this lady that owns 2 companies. One is Podcast Charlotte, and another one is Remo Coaching. And when we were talking about it, we was talking about this exact same conversation, these safety net jobs and everything, right? And we talked about how before she left, she was very high up at Novant Health. Okay. And she had a lot of people under her. And now she coaches other people how to handle leadership positions and when people start their own businesses and stuff. Check this out. We filmed that episode of Secret Sauce to Be the Boss, talking about Novant, talking about these safety net jobs that aren't necessarily so safe. 2 days after we filmed this episode, she texted me and said, guess what, Larry? I said, what? She said, remember everything we was talking about those jobs and how they're not really safe? She said, Novant fired 39 supervisors today for no rhyme or reason. So now those people, how are they supposed to pay their mortgage, pay their car payment, feed their kids, put gas in their car, put food in their mouth? I mean,
From a financial advisor perspective, I'm gonna take it a step further.
Okay.
Most of those people were probably maxing out, or at least contributing most of what they should have had saved for their own lives into a 401k if they can't touch their 59 and a half years old. So not only is it not safe, but you're self-sabotaging, because you're putting the currency that you have to touch if you do get fired into a place where you can't even touch without being penalized for it. In 2015, there were about $5 billion paid to the IRS in fees, which means $50 billion was taken out from IRAs and 401ks and hardship penalties. Consider that. Consider that they are creating an avenue for you to tie up your real wealth building potential, put it in a place that they own you until you're 59 and a half years old, and you can't do anything with that capital where you could build a business. You could have far more financial security. If you're disciplined, you can build something that has equity that can make you so much more money than a paycheck ever could. But the problem is we're taught as a society that that's an okay life, that's a safe life, that's a secure life. There's no stability in that lifestyle whatsoever.
You know, it's funny too, because people would rather put their trust and faith in these companies and these jobs and these corporations that literally do not care one single bit about them than they would to put their own future in their own hands. And I talked about this on my show the other night. Two people, one of my friends is a financial advisor, really good dude, and I'm not trying to make him sound bad when I say this. I'm just saying that our beliefs are a little bit different. And our third friend that was in the room, he has two 401ks. And one of them is through his current job, and one of them is through his old job, and he had about $60,000 in it. And he was saying that he wanted to pull it out, after penalties and stuff, he'd get about 40 of it, right? So he wants to buy this place. And our other friend was telling him, no, keep it in there again. And I said, no, don't. I'm gonna tell you why. I said, you take that $40,000 and go buy that house you was going to buy, because in that community you said you was going to buy it, and rent in that community is $1,600 to $1,700. I said, you put that $40,000 down, you buy that house. I said, and your mortgage payment's going to be about $1,000 a month. I said, you rent that house out for $1,650 a month, and you take that $650 extra a month and put it in a separate bank account and don't touch it. I said, you take that $1,000 a month and you pay your mortgage. So you're really owning a home for zero cost to you. I said, do that for about a year and a half. All that money that you added up, which is going to cost you about, what's going to be about another $15,000, you take that and you buy another home, and you do the exact same thing. Now you have two of them, so you got double the amount coming in. So now you don't have to wait a year and a half this next time. Now you only have to wait about a year. Take that money you put to the side and buy you a third home. At the end of this process, which takes you about 2.5 years, but nobody wants to wait 2.5 years, right? At the end of this process, after about 2.5 years, you literally have 3 homes being rented out that are being paid for. So you're going to have about an extra $2,000 a month profit coming into your pocket now. You can do what you want with it, or you can keep putting it away to keep flipping these properties. And also on top of it, the most beautiful part is these 3 properties are being bought for you without you spending a single dollar of your money.
See, you're talking about the true wealth that can be built if people were to break down the numbers to their base. Most people are taught not to break down the numbers because they're thinking of living off of an asset one day. You'll never live off an asset. You'll always live off income. So building multiple streams of income is the only safety net that you can truly have. The idea of a 401k, especially when you factor in taxes, because I've sat down with numerous people, they might have $400,000 in their 401k, they think they have $400,000. It's not until I inject the reality, you might have $290,000. Because you still got to pay Uncle Sam. But most people are seeing that lump sum number, that lump sum figure with no context. It's not until you contextualize, like you just broke down, what the numbers really mean and how much income you can build if you're willing to take the risk, that people even think, okay, wow, I would have been missing out. How much money, as you calculated over just a 2.5-year period, could he have missed out on by having a stagnant 401k? Let's say $60,000 went through a bad market cycle. You're putting money that could be working for you in a place where it can lose money. I tell people all the time, wealth building, really, it's being stolen, like the wealth building opportunity, the potential for it's being stolen from the middle class because we're trying to go forward in upper class restraints. Here's what I mean
Right.
by that. Those upper class restraints, you're talking about investing capital in a way that somebody who's already wealthy would invest in. So if I'm putting my money in a place where I'm just saying, let the market, give me the returns, that's because I already have enough income that I'm living my best life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not living your best life now in ways that bring you that peace, what you're ultimately doing is robbing yourself of your wealth building potential and putting it in places because you're mocking what people who are wealthier than you are doing. Investments were never meant for you to get rich. Investments were meant, the stock market was meant for you to outpace inflation. The idea of people getting wealthy through the market, that came about in the 80s with the 401k and the advent, we just made Wall Street really wealthy. Before that, you actually had to go out and create income streams, create businesses, like you had to grow wealth. And we've gotten away from that, thinking that we can just kind of passively invest or do day trade, like do these things that they honestly rob the middle class of so much more than it gives them. People are not talking about the error of their ways, the pitfalls of investing. They're talking about all the glory and the glitz of it.
Well, we live in a world where we show you one thing, but the truth is behind our back. So why not trick the masses? Why not trick the working class society? The way the entire system is set up, the working class pay for everything anyways. Why not hold it on them a little bit more? Why not trick them a little bit more?
It's breaking their neck.
Breaking their neck. I don't get into that meme stuff and all that stuff too much, but a friend of mine, he's a very successful person. We've actually done business together. He posted one that was this guy leaned back against this Lamborghini, and he said that he walks in to his company, and one of his employees said, "Man, that is an awesome car." And the guy says to him, "Man, I tell you what," he said, "if you keep coming to work every single day again this year, bust your butt, come early, put your blood, sweat, and tears into this job, I'll be able to buy me another one again next year."
Just like that.
Just like that.
It's the biggest, not just farce that we're playing on people, but it's manipulative. To the degree that, the reason that I wrote the book, Four True Lies About Your Money, the reason I use the word lie is because we're not using powerful enough language. It's one thing if you say, your man is messing around on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing when you say, your wife cheated on you. Like, let's start using language that changes people's understanding of what's going on. You're being lied to about your money every single day, and the lies are coming in the form of doing more for your self-interest, for your best interest, and it's actually depleting your overall value. You're being lied to, blatantly.
But check this out. Let me show you how the easiest way to get away with it. So if someone sees me, they see my tattoos, they maybe see my muscles, maybe bald head, maybe I curse sometimes, maybe they find out about my past, prejudged, right? They don't look at, this man doesn't have a bad bone in his body. This man dedicates half of his day, almost every single day, to helping kids out, to doing community work, to doing free stuff, to helping people, to teaching people. He hardly charges for anything. He goes out of his way to help you. That's not what they're seeing. They're judging by tattoos.
That's why the truth matters.
But check this out. You got a guy that can come on, clean himself up, throw a suit on, right? Tell you lies. Oh, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. Give you that little fake smile, come to me. And then I can come to you and tell you something different. And you go, oh, look at him, man. See,
Right.
See how they trick you with little tiny stuff that doesn't even matter?
It's necessary. It's necessary in a society where people are looking for the Instagram fix, but they're so willing to suppress their own truth because they want to be like the guy who's well manicured. They want to look like the guy who's got it all together, right?
Yeah.
So when you start looking at people who are willing to bear the truth, that's why it was so important for you, not only for you to write your book, right? But it was so important for me to get my book out there because for so long people were using behind closed doors the things about my life that I wouldn't profess against me. And even if they didn't know those things, my insecurities were weighing on me because I couldn't push out the truth. Once you give birth to the truth of your life, you don't give a damn who's going to bring it up against you. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about not having a bad bone in your body, if you genuinely want to help people, if you're here for changing lives for the number one best thing that you can do is be authentic with them. This is who I am. This is what I went through. I went as a financial advisor. I paid off student loan debt. I was debt free, went back into debt. I was making a significant amount of money. I was a unit sales manager. I was a unit supervisor at this company, Bankers Life and Casualty. I was there for 10 and a half years, and that was when I was 30 years old. I was killing it, #1 Southeast financial advisor. And I was going broke. And I felt like I couldn't tell anybody because I was doing all the things that the industry was telling me. I was maxing out this and maxing out that and paying the stuff off. I'm like, yo, why? Like, where's my money at?
What's going on here?
Right. But I was also relying, and it's the worst thing in the world, and I wish more financial advisors were being real about it. I was relying on the network that I had built of people who were successful to feel successful because I was a part of their network while I was making money off their money. Now think about how ludicrous it is. You're trusting me with your money to help you make money, and I'm charging you money to help you make that money while I'm having problems in my own financial life. There are financial advisors out here who are not being real about what it takes to succeed in the industry. That's why so many people on Wall Street are on cocaine, and they're having sex with strippers, and they're doing late night stuff that they would never talk about. And we see these lifestyles and we glorify them in the aftermath. The Wolf of Wall Street, right? But how many real lives did he destroy?
Countless.
Now multiply that number by how many financial advisors are out there who act like they're doing the right thing with fiduciary standards and all this language, but really they're making money off of you by keeping you in places that they call emotional intelligence and emotional coaching, keeping you in places and doing things that they know for a fact they're not even doing themselves.
Yeah, that's the blind leading the blind, right?
That's the reality. These are new muscles. Financial world, we talk about this all the time. You see debt a certain way. You think debt freedom equals financial freedom. It doesn't. So when you hear that conceptually, you're thinking, well, that's BS. But if I were to tell you, you're paying off debt for 15 years, you could be building wealth those 15 years with the debt on your balance sheet. And then 15 years, you have $300,000 instead of $20,000. Well, I don't mind having $50,000 in debt if I got 300 grand in real wealth.
Exactly.
But the problem is that we'd rather be debt free and have that $20,000 or $30,000 because we aggressively paid all that off. We can't get those 15 years back.
No, you cannot. Time is the one thing in this world that can never be replaced.
People need to hear that message, but they got to be ready.
Money can be replaced, jobs can be replaced.
Time
can never be replaced. The moment you are born, you know the little sand jars where the sand drips from one to the other, one end to the other. The moment you're born, that sand jar is flipped and set right there. And no matter what you do, that sand never stops leaking. And when it's out, it's out. You never get any more sand in it.
Biggest question that I had for you coming into this interview. 13 years of your life. It wasn't necessarily wiped off the table, but it was definitely given this moment that you had to make some game time decisions. How do you feel about that 13-year period? Are you reclaiming time? Are you seeing that time as a blessing? Are you seeing that time as a hard pause, a hard reset? How do you see it, and how do you approach life because of that time?
It wasn't lost, even though the time maybe with my family and stuff like that was lost. It saved my life. If I had not been locked up, I would not be here talking to you now. There's no doubt about it. Not the way that I was living my life. It saved my life. And not only did it save my life, it's helped me save many and many of other people's lives. I'm not going to get into the details, but you know about motivational speaking and my job stuff. On a personal level, how many people I've helped come out of addictions or from prison or adversity, or like we talked about being molested and stuff like that. How many lives and how many people behind the scenes I help and touch. Some people are religious and some people aren't. I don't talk about religion very often at all, but I am a religious person. And God gives his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. And I was built for this for a reason. Everything that happened to me, everything I went through as a kid, even being in prison, it was all done to me for a reason, to make me who I am. My testimony is so strong that no matter where I go, no matter what the audience is, no matter what religion, what race, what nationality, when I stand up and I speak and I tell my story, no one can deny me. Everyone has to take heed and listen. Like, holy crap, listen to what this man's saying, what this man been through, and look at him. Look at his life. Look how positive he is. Listen to what he's saying to you. Look at what he's willing to do. So it put me in a situation to where I cannot be denied. So what a lot of people would use as a weakness and as an excuse, is my shield of armor.
I love
It gets
that.
me in
I love
anywhere, and it gets me anybody's attention. You cannot deny me
See,
when you
that's,
know
that's,
this.
that's why I asked the question, because it's biblical. God will restore everything that you thought was lost. And he'll do it in spades. He'll do it to an exponential extent. He'll compound the interest of any time that you feel like, man, I could have been doing this, this, and that. But you got to go through that process for it to happen.
You
And
absolutely
there's
do.
so many people who deny themselves the process, because what they would be thinking is, oh man, I had so much time stolen from me, and now I can't get a job.
But check
Oh
this
man,
out.
you know, that's that victim mentality.
Faith without works does not work. If I would not have put the work in alone, I still wouldn't have reached this. There is a lot of things given to a lot of people that flush it down the toilet because they abuse it or take advantage of it or don't understand the blessing. You have to
Because the
open
blessing
your eyes.
looks like work,
Remember what we
right?
were just talking about a second ago about peeling back?
Yeah.
You have to put in the work and you have to peel back. How I just said, I wish that a lot of people that I spoke to and I talked to, I wish that they could really hear me and understand me. So many times I talk to people and there are those ones that I reach and I help, and it's amazing, but there's so many that I want to help so bad. It's people that are close to me and I'm like, God man, why can't I get them to see this or feel this, understand it? But I have to realize I can only do what I can do. Just like it took for me to finally open my eyes up, I'm going to keep trying.
And you got to put it in perspective
Yeah.
of how much, like you
Yeah.
said, thousands of conversations. If you throw somebody in a gym and they see, and they're puny, and they see weight as heavy, they'll never get strong.
Yeah.
But if they see weight as an obstacle,
Ah.
right? If they see it as an opportunity, if they see it as something to overcome, something to deal with, something to contend with, then eventually they'll build up. But once again, we're getting to that time component. A person has to see the time that they have to go through that process as a blessing. Or else they're going to see it as a curse, and they're going to reject it, and they're going to be a victim, and they're going to say, man, I don't want to go through this. But my thing is, the time's going to pass anyway. If you plan on being, this is what gets me about people who say, I don't want to invest in that. If I plan on being alive at 40, then why not make the best possible life between now and 40? Why would I piss life away and then when I'm 40 act like, oh man, I never thought I'd make this far? But you got people who do it every single day.
You know, people get so caught in their routines, and we live in a society now where like the news feeds you lies and garbage all the time. Social media keeps you entertained with a bunch of BS. All these corporations and companies and governments and stuff, they control all these different avenues of what you see through the news, through social media, through newspapers, through magazines, what's on TV. They kind of orchestrate what you think and how you feel. You've got to have a Samsung or an Apple or you're not cool. You've got to have a Coke or a Pepsi or you're not cool. You got to be a Democrat or Republican or you're not cool. All these choices, you have to go this way.
They're almost always, and this is what the media, they got it so good. It's always two.
Yep.
You know? And I tell people all the time, I say, if you're always contending with two choices, one, you really have one choice. Two, the person behind those two choices is probably the same company.
Exactly.
So they're funneling you in, which any smart media outlet should do, right? They give you the illusion of choice. That illusion puts you in a place where you're saying, okay, I only have these two options, pick one. Well, back when I used to do a lot of sales calling, we used to say, so when do you want to meet, Monday or Wednesday?
Because you didn't give
Morning or afternoon, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So I'm taking away from you the idea that we're not going to meet. Because I've already said we're either going to meet Monday or Wednesday. Morning or afternoon. So that's sales 101, and most people don't even know that that's happening to them in their lives. And they're saying, I like iPhone. Well, do you have any idea of any other phone that's on the market
Do you know what
except
LG
the
does?
Android and the right?
So
It's like, good God, man.
So check this out. Let me point out a quick fact to everybody really quick. 10% of the world controls 90% of the money. 90% of the world fights over 10% of the money. So if those 10% of people that control 90% of the money are running the entire show, and they're the ones feeding you this advertisement, this social media, this news, this illusion, and they keep you going in circles, fighting over Coke and Pepsi, Democrats and Republicans, iPhones and Samsungs. You can't even see outside the box to be an individual, right? So they're going to keep you down in that 90%, fighting over that 10% of money. Guess why? Because you're consumed by this BS that doesn't matter, while they're focusing on what really does matter. Money, control, and power. And they are controlling the masses that way. So to them, all of us are stuck on a merry-go-round going in circles.
You would be shocked at how much money. I was speaking at a conference a little while ago. I said, the top 5 banks in the world. So our firm, we're the Life Group, but we have this online platform, Life Changers Bank. The top 5 banks in the world are owned by the Chinese. They all have over $2 trillion of either assets under management or on their balance sheet. The 6th bank, that's the first time that you see the United States of America, and that's JP Morgan Chase. The number 1 black-owned bank in the world has $661 million with an M. The top 6 banks are all over $2 trillion with a T. What I can't get people, not just in my community, but people in the United States of America to understand is where we really stand in the world versus where we think we stand. If you were to ever to bring the reality to people's front porch that the exceptionalism, the elitism that we think that we have in this country, compared to so many people in the world, yes, we are elite, but there's still so many people who are pissing on blessings in this nation. Here's an example. To be a 1%er worldwide, how much money do you think you have to earn? Income-wise, to be in the top 1%, you only have to earn $32,400. That makes you in the top 1% of income earners worldwide. Think about how many people are going dead broke right now who earn around $30,000 or $40,000 a year. Because context matters. But if you have 10% who own 90% of the wealth, giving you a certain narrative, and you have the media telling you what it looks like to be rich or what it looks like to have financial prosperity, they're harping on a message that's literally detracting and depleting from who you think you are and who you know you could be.
Why would they worry about that though when they can watch reality television?
Oh yeah, why not?
Why
Let me watch reality television where people are fighting.
Yeah.
So it's showing me what wealthy people would do anyway.
Yeah, let me just
That's
watch
the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life.
Reality TV is one of my personal opinions, is one of the major problems that is wrong with the world, our society, and the way people act these days. If I had to put a top 3 list, reality TV would be in the top 3, and people are addicted to it like it's crack cocaine. Man, this was a great interview with a lot of amazing knowledge. I appreciate the fact that you let us come out here today and do this interview.
Yeah, man, thank you guys for having me.
We took this to a different level. This became,
Strategy session.
more of a conversation,
Yeah.
more of a life lesson, more of just 2 mutual people that really are on the same page with a lot of things in life. I appreciate you having me out and talking to me today.
Thank you.
This might have been the deepest and realest conversation interview we've done all season. Guys, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Secret Sauce to Be the Boss. You got a lot of secret sauce to not only be the boss, but to change your life and to open your mind in a different way than you have ever before. Thank you for watching the first season. Thank you for watching this 4-pack special. And we look forward to having all of you come back for season 2. Until next time, guys, we're out.
It's the North Cat, baby, I'm a boss.